Hello guys, welcome back to Life with Mrs. B. Today we're having a little sit down chit chat video about, I'm sure you've guessed it from the title, about my surgery. If you missed my updates on Instagram guys, I had my surgery. I did a video about, I want to say about 2 weeks ago here on the channel, and I'll put the link to that up here or up here if I remember. I always forget to put the links, I'm so bad. You know, like the little card. If I don't put the card, you guys can just go back and look on my channel. It was about, as I said, the video was about 2 weeks ago or thereabouts, and it was talking about my surgery, what I was going to get done, how I was feeling about it, and now I have had the surgery done. I'm still alive. I was very worried I was not going to wake up from the anaesthetic, like so worried. It's not even funny how worried I was, and obviously I'm alive, I'm awake, I woke up, and I'm very happy. So today I'm going to be talking about the surgery, how it went, how I'm feeling now, what my recovery's been like. So yeah, let's get on to the video. The kids are out playing guys, and they're starting to come in now because it's actually starting to rain. So if you hear noisy kids, sorry, not sorry, that is life. If you don't know me and you're new to the channel, anyway, I've got 3 kids, they're home educated, so I don't even get a chance to like film a video when they're at school or nursery or whatnot because they don't go to school or nursery. So when I had the operation, if you didn't watch the video that I was talking about earlier, I had metalwork removed from my leg due to just not really getting on with the metalwork in my leg. It was hurting me, it was restricting my movement. My leg has never gone back to the size it was before, so I have one leg that looks constantly swollen and one leg that's like skinny, and it is so annoying. So I went and I seen a doctor, and he examined me, listened to what I had to say, and he says, yeah, your metalwork needs to come out. I had a plate about that size, 8 metal screws and wire, and they managed to take it all out. One of the complications, or like downsides, I don't know what you want to call it, of the surgery is that they might not be able to take all the metal out. So I was really confused by that. I was like, how can you leave the metal plate in if like 2 screws for instance don't come out? And the woman that I spoke to before I went in for the surgery, she says, yeah, we just leave it in with 2 screws, we maybe put like 1 screw either end, and then that's it. I was like, wow, that's crazy. But they managed to get all of the metalwork out. As I said, I was really scared I wasn't going to wake up from that anaesthetic. And so I'll explain a little bit about what happened. So I went along, I was asked to come along just before lunchtime, and I sat in the waiting room for an hour and a half before anything even happened. And that just made me like, not angry, I wasn't angry, I was just like, I just wanted to get it done, I just wanted it to be over, and I had to wait for so long. And then after an hour and a half, it was more like an hour and 45 minutes actually, a nurse came and she took me into a room, and she just kind of went over everything I'd had done at my pre-op assessment, which is things like your blood pressure. She didn't really do like height or weight again because they haven't really changed. She asked me questions like, do you have diabetes, all these kind of things, and it's always like no, 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 no. And then they asked me for a urine sample, and they checked I was not pregnant. I'm not pregnant. Definitely not pregnant, but they checked I wasn't pregnant anyway. I think they had to do that, and they also checked I had like no infections or anything, and then that was me. They were like, go get your gown on. So I went and I got my gown on, and I brought a house coat, so I put a house coat on top and I put my slippers on, and then I waited. It was a row of chairs, and we all had these little gowns on and house coats on, and we all waited, and then kind of like one by one we got taken in for more like chats with the anaesthetists and the surgeons and all that kind of thing. We were all there for different things, and we were all there to see different surgeons and have different operations or procedures done, because there were some people who weren't getting general anaesthetics, they were just getting like, I don't even know what they were getting done. Obviously I wasn't nosy. So the first thing that happened, I waited there, I would say for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. It was crazy. So like I took all my stuff off, and they give you a locker, you put it in the locker. So I had a little like wheelie suitcase and all that, put it in the locker, then went and sat down, as I said, with this row of other people. And after about 2 hours, a doctor, she was like my surgeon's assistant, but she was a doctor, she came out and she took me into a room, and we had a chat about what was going to happen, and then that was fine. And then she went away, and then maybe about, I don't know, about half an hour later, the anaesthetist, I can never say these words right, the anaesthetist, she came and she had a chat with me, and I told her, you know, look, I'm really scared about not waking up from the anaesthetic. And she's like, you'll be fine. She says, obviously it's a complication that could arise. I'm like, a complication? That means death. That's not a complication. And she's like, I don't foresee it happening. She says, you're healthy, you're fit. You know, she says, you're like one of the lowest risk people. She says, you'll be fine. And that was fine, and we spoke a little bit about it. And then she went away, and then the anaesthetist nurse came and got me, and every time they were like going over all these questions. Do you have diabetes? Do you smoke? Do you, all these questions? No, 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 no. And then the anaesthetist nurse came and got me, and then she was the last person, and she took me, she did more questions. She's like, you're not pregnant? No, I'm not pregnant. The pregnancy test results said, no, I'm not pregnant. And then she took me away to the operating room, and that was it really. And I took off my house coat, and then if you don't know, the gowns that you have to wear when you're in hospital, they have a big gap up the back, so like your butt's just hanging out. So I took my house coat off, my butt's hanging out, and my slippers, took my little slippers off. And then she's like, right, just sit on the bed. And that was me. I just sat on the bed, and she put a little blanket over me. Then the anaesthetist came in, and then another anaesthetist nurse came in, and it's quite funny. She was like, okay, like they were all just like talking, like just making it super, super normal. They were all very nice people, very nice. But I was very nervous. As I said, I was nervous I wasn't going to wake up. And then the anaesthetist touched my hand, she put the cannula in, and she's like, you're very, very cold. Are you cold? Your hands are freezing. I was like, no, this is actually something me and Thomas laugh about. I always have cold hands and cold feet, and it drives Thomas and the kids up the wall because I lift up their t-shirts and I put my hand and like on their back. Oh, it drives them crazy because my hands are always like ice. The rest of me's normally alright. I'm generally a pretty cold person, but my hands and my feet are always cold. So I was telling the anaesthetist that. I was like, no, I says, I'm alright. My hands are cold, but my hands are always cold. And she's like, okay, that's fine then. And then I must have been starting to panic because the other anaesthetist, she was like, we're going to give you something just now. I was like, okay. She says, before the anaesthetic, because you don't seem very relaxed. So my heart must have been like, my blood pressure must have been. And she's like, we're going to give you something. It's just going to calm you down and help you relax because we want you to be nice and relaxed. And she was like that. She was just like very, la, and I'm like lying in the bed. So they gave me something. I don't feel like it did anything, but I imagine it did bring my heart down and bring my blood pressure down, whatever it was. And then they put the oxygen mat. Is it oxygen? I don't think it's oxygen that's in it. I think it's like the opposite of oxygen. I'm not sure, but they put the mask on, and then they put the anaesthetic into my cannula, and that was it. And the anaesthetist says, right, just lie back and think of a nice beach. And I don't remember feeling tired, feeling groggy, you know, like you're about to fall asleep. Don't remember. I just remember saying, oh, I'd quite like to go to a beach. And then that was it. I woke up, and that was it, honestly. So when I woke up, I was in like a recovery ward with other people and other nurses, like other people who had operations, and I was just like, when I woke up, I was like, thank you God, thank you Jesus. The nurse must have thought I was mental, and then I started crying, and the nurse was like, are you all right? And I was like, I'm so grateful to be awake. And I was like proper crying. She was like, okay then. She must have thought I was crazy, but honestly I was just so worried about not waking up that when I did wake up, I was just like, woohoo! And then the pain kicked in. Just waiting for that thing to go. Can you hear that? What is that? I take it that's one of those street cleaners, those machines, and it has those whirly things that cleans like the side of the curb. No, nobody know what that is. We'll just wait for that to pass. One moment please. When the pain kicked in, ooh, it was painful. It was, my leg was very, very sore, like so sore I can't even explain how sore it was. And the nurse says, okay, on a scale of 0 to 4, 0 being no pain at all, 4 being the worst pain you've ever had in your life, where is it? And I was like, this is like a solid 3, a solid 3. She was like, okay, so it's pretty sore then? I was like, yes, it's very, very sore. Not the worst pain I've had in my life, but very, very sore. She was like, okay. And then my calf, my right calf, all the metal work was removed from my right leg. My right calf was killing me. It was agony. And I've actually had 2 like almost blood clots. They've not been confirmed, but they have been blood clots. I'm telling you, that thing is back. It must be doing the other side of the street. Do you hear it? How rude. Does that not realise I'm trying to make a video? She actually went and she got the doctor, the surgeon that performed my surgery, and he came and he felt my leg. I think she was worried it might be a clot, but generally clots don't happen as soon as that. They happen like a week after your operation kind of thing, and both of the ones that I've had have happened a week after, to the day, like literally to the day. So he came and he's like, no, her calf is fine, it's nice and soft. I'm like, okay. Thanks. He says her calf will be fine. He says I doubt it would be a blood clot at this stage, yada yada yada, all that good stuff. He says give her such and such, and then away he went. And then what they did was the nurse gave me some medicine into my cannula, and she says, now this stuff's really strong. I was like, yeah, that's fine, keep giving it to me, keep giving it to me. She says, but whilst you're on this we have to put you on oxygen because it's very, very strong and it can interfere with your breathing. So I was like, right, cool, just whack it in there, whack it in. So she kept putting it in, and she says, I can give you X amount. It was like 5 mils or something. I can give you 5 mils or 1 mil or whatever it was every 5 minutes. So she says, every 5 minutes I'll ask you if you need some more. If you fell asleep, I'm going to take it that the pain is not as bad and I'll stop giving you. So I was like, right, okay, come on, come on. So she started giving it to me, and I had the oxygen mask on, and I was laughing. I was telling her about last time I had the oxygen mask on. I was moaning because the oxygen mask was going in my eyes because my face, like my face is so little. She's like, yeah, you do have a little face. But anyway, she kept giving it to me, she kept giving it to me, kept giving it, because I was in a lot of pain. And then I would say, I don't even know how many doses, but after a good few doses, the pain came down from like a 3 to like a 2.5. So I was taking that for a win, and I was feeling a tiny bit better. But the nurse was quite worried. She's like, your breathing is not very good, Paula. I was like, oh man, come on, I can't even control that. I can't even control it. And she says, I know sometimes when you're in a lot of pain, you kind of, like, you hold your breath. She said, but I really need you not to do that, because if your breathing gets any worse, you need to come off this medicine. I was like, right, okay. So I was like doing like these big deep breaths, and I was trying like super hard to make like a conscious effort to do good breathing. And then it kind of came down, my pain came down a little bit more. And then eventually she says, look, I'm going to need to take you off this because your breathing is just, it's not acceptable enough for me. I'm not happy with it. So yeah, they took me off the good stuff, and then she gave me something else. It was it was a D, started with like DE. It's not diclofenac, it's dihydrocodeine. I want to say dihydrocodeine. And I said to her, is this going to make me go to sleep? Because I was like ready to go to sleep. And she says it might do. So I was like, brilliant. And then I started feeling sick, and I was like, oh man. And I felt really sick, and she was like, do you want something for the sickness? She says, I can give you something for sickness, she says, but it can make you feel worse. What? I was like, no, I don't want any of that. And then they moved me down to like the day surgery unit, and I was there for a couple of hours. And when I went there, the nurse that looked after me, she was all right. And then I also had a student nurse, and she was really lovely. And they says, you know, do you want something for the sickness? And I was like, no, because the nurse said it's going to make me feel bad. And she says, I can give you something else. That'll take away, that might take away the sickness. And I was like, right, okay, give me that. So she gave me that, and it was just a tablet. And I actually think it was the morphine that made me sick. I know in the stuff they put into my hand, one of the drugs was morphine. And last time when I broke my ankle, they pumped me with morphine in the ambulance, and in resus they kept pumping the morphine into me, and then I was really sick. So I think my body has a kind of adverse reaction to morphine. I don't think my body likes morphine. So I think it was morphine that made me feel sick. And probably if I have anything else, I'm going to ask not to get morphine. Maybe like 1 bit of morphine would be alright, but I think like the amount they just like pump into you because you're in so much pain just doesn't agree with me. So I think it was the morphine. So the nurse gave me a tablet to stop me feeling sick, and it didn't work. I just felt just as sick, and every time I closed my eyes to go to sleep, I felt sick. Like I felt like at that point I was then going to be sick. And the nurse came over with a sick bowl, and she's like, come on, let's just get the sick up. It's like, oh man, I don't want to be sick. I actually hate being sick. It's one of like, it's not a fear I have, but I will do anything and everything in my power to stop myself being sick, because I really hate it. And I know a lot of times when you're not feeling well, you get the sick up and then you feel better. I know that, I really do, but I just couldn't. I just was like, no, I just don't want to play this game. I just want to hold the sick in until like tomorrow. and she was like moving me about and trying to get me to be sick. I was like, oh come on man, I don't want to be sick. And then she says, I'd like you to eat something and drink something and maybe that'll make you sick. She was so excited and I was like, I don't want to be sick. So I ate 1 custard cream. I was like, I really don't want to eat anything. She says, I would really like you to eat something. This went on for a few minutes. I was like, I really don't want to. She says, well, I can't force you to eat anything. She says, but you might feel better if you've got something in your tummy, because you have to fast before you have the operation. So by this point I hadn't eaten anything for like almost 24 hours, and she's like, you know, you might feel a little bit better if you've got something in your tummy. So I ate a custard cream, and then I accidentally, it was an accident, spilt my juice all over the rest of my biscuits. I couldn't eat them. That was a shame. They were the most driest biscuits I've ever ate in my life. She offered me a sandwich. I don't really like sandwiches, and I was like, nope, no sandwich, no thank you. And then that's when she's like, I can get you a biscuit. I like custard creams, bring me them. So yeah, I wasn't sick. I held on to the sick a couple of times. I was like it was coming, but didn't come. So I wasn't sick. My pain was feeling a lot better, and really I was surprisingly feeling good, surprisingly. So then eventually it was kind of late. It was about 8 o'clock. I got to go home that night. Thomas came for me with the boys, Scouts at Scouts, and they put me in a wheelchair and they wheeled me out of there, and that was it. I came home and I actually fell asleep in the car when Thomas was taking all the kids in from the car. I fell asleep, and then he came to get me and I was like, I don't want to go, I want to sleep in the car. Because yeah, I'm a big bone. And eventually he kind of like dragged me into the house, and then that was me. I was like, ding, I was wide awake. I couldn't go to sleep, and I didn't go to sleep until about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. Honestly, it was terrible. And then since then, if I swallow, since then I've actually been feeling really good. It has been sore, don't get me wrong, but it has been nothing like when I broke my leg the first time. Well, I was gonna say first time around, I didn't break my leg this time, but when I broke my leg I was very ill. I was in hospital for a good couple of days, and then I slept. I came home and I slept for 10 days straight. The medicine I was on was so strong, I just slept, healed, didn't feel good. I lost a lot of weight because I didn't eat anything. But yeah, but this time around it's just not been the same. I've been, after I would say about 5 days, I was really able to get up and just walk about quite easily without any pain. The first 5 days it was kind of sore, and I didn't have any crutches, and I've been allowed to weight bear on it, and I just walked about holding up Sky's desk chair and I just toddled about the house, and it's been alright. It's not been that sore. I've only been taking painkillers maybe like once or twice a day. It's just not been that sore. It's been really good. When Thomas changed my dressing, I had a big dressing on. If you guys seen the Instagram picture, I'll put it in here, but you should follow me on Instagram anyway. If you don't, then you're missing out. But Thomas had to change the big dressing, and that was horrible. I went in the shower and soaked it, and it had blood on it and stuff, and it was like stuck to my skin and stuck to my wound, and that was, oh, that wasn't good. I was actually like sick from the pain because it was so painful. There was tears. It wasn't good. And then I looked at my leg and I was like, oh my gosh, I've been butchered. It's horrible. I'm not going to show you pictures of that. But Thomas was like, no, it's fine. It looks really good, Paula. It looks really good. But I didn't believe him. I thought it looked terrible. And then yesterday I actually got my stitches out. I had stitches. They were purse stitches. I don't know what that means. That's just the style of stitches, I think. And getting them out was kind of sore. The nurse that took them out yesterday, she said regular stitches are not sore to come out, but she said these ones can be a little bit sore, so sorry. I was like, oh man. And then when she took them out, when she took one of them out, blood actually squirted out and nearly hit her in the face. So yeah, wasn't great. And then she just put a dressing on it. So pretty much that is me. She said I have to take this dressing off in a couple of days, and then that's me. I don't have to wear any dressings. She says it looks really good. She says it's healed very nicely. There's no infection. She says the surgeon looks like he's did a good job. You know, like the scar wise, the scar is pretty big. Let me see, how big is the scar from there to there? The scar's about the same as last time, so the scar's about that, which is pretty big, but you know, what can you do about it? There's nothing much I can do. I already am feeling like my ankle is better than when I had the metal in. Before, if you think, well, this is kind of difficult to do, if you think, right, when you pretend this is your foot, right, and this is your leg, and you know, you move your foot like this, and then most people can move their foot all the way back like that and have their foot sit flat. I've not been able to do it. See, with the metal in, my range of motion has been absolutely shocking, but I'm super excited. I can actually put my leg, or like my foot flat like that now. It's really, really good. So I'm excited with that. It feels stronger, which is ironic because you would think having the metal in it to strengthen it would feel stronger, but no, it didn't. It always felt like it could break any moment, and it really doesn't feel like that now. So I'm super happy. I'm feeling happy. I've still got the dressing on. All my bruising has went away. I had bad bruising in my hand from the cannula, which is just, I've had like 5-6 operations, and that's just, you know, that's just the way it is. My foot, this gave me a laugh yesterday. I'm looking at my foot, I'm not going to show you, but yesterday when I was putting my shoes on to go to the doctor's, how funny is this? I tried on three pairs of shoes and none of my shoes fit. I was like, what's going on? What has happened to all my shoes? How stupid am I? There's nothing wrong with my shoes. It was my foot. My foot is swollen, really, really badly swollen, which I guess is to be expected. And I've not been out the house in all this time. So yesterday when I went out, I had to wear flip-flops, I had to wear sandals. And when I walked into the nurses, I was like, don't laugh at my shoes. I know it's freezing and it's March and it's Scotland, but don't laugh at my shoes. My feet don't fit in any shoes. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how long it's going to take for the swelling in my foot to go down. My foot's pretty bruised. It only really came out yesterday. It's pretty bruised, but again, that's just one of those things, isn't it? It's just bruising and it'll go away. My stomach, on the other hand, that is pretty bruised. I am on a month, just over a month's worth of, what do you call them? I don't think these ones I have are called Clexane. I think they're called something else, but essentially they are blood thinners because of my previous history with my 2 almost clots. The doctor decided to, you know, a month's worth of blood thinners. It's not worth a chance. And whilst I don't like particularly being jagged, it's a jag and you have to pinch your skin and your stomach and do it for a month. It's not the best thing, but I would much rather have these and have my stomach bruised than have a blood clot. Overall, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy. I've been able to move about. And that's really it, guys. So thank you so much for watching this video. I know it has been a really long one. Thank you to everyone that made it to the end. Shall I be like one of those YouTubers? If you made it to the end, leave a, in the comments, leave a, oh, I don't know, leave a funny, just a funny emoji. Some people say like a love heart emoji or whatever. Just leave a funny emoji in the comments below, and I'll know you made it to the end. Yeah, that's my inner diva YouTuber coming. I don't know what's wrong with me, guys. I have not had anything to eat yet today, so I'm probably like, woo! But anyway, guys, thanks so much for joining. I really do hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments. I'm not sure if comments will be on or not. Sometimes they're on, sometimes they're not. That's just the way YouTube is working just now. That's not my doing. That's just YouTube. So I do hope you enjoyed it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow with our brand new video, guys. Bye. Well, that would be rubbish if it was an old video. Who would want to watch an old video? Why do people say that? Bye, guys.